Hello, and welcome to the first in the series of lectures that focuses on the topic, what is truth? All right, so here we are, 1 week later, after I asked all of you to think over the question, what do you know with certainty? All right, now this question is at the heart of philosophical discussion because philosophy in itself means philosophia, or philo, which comes from philia, to love or to desire, and sophia, which is wisdom. All right? So, in searching for wisdom, in loving wisdom or searching for truth, you are a philosopher. So, we need to ask ourselves, what's truth?
What? Tell her the
truth! And so, that is why I asked you guys to think about what you know for certain. What truth do you have in your lives? And many of you gave great responses, but let's think about this. What does it mean to know something for certain? What does it mean to know something? Well, if you haven't figured it out already, to know means that the know is truthful. The know is certain. Or what philosophers like to say, that which is indubitable, cannot be doubted. Now, isn't that an interesting way of looking at it? Truth as certain or that which can't be doubted. Okay? So stay along with me here. What is it that you know that cannot be doubted? Well, let's start with the basics. What's happening right now? How do you know you are watching this video?
Whoa! These are the 5 senses. Sense of sight, sense of hearing, sense of smell, sense of taste, and sense of touch.
Well, you can see the video, you can hear the video, you know you're in your room or your house or wherever you are right now because you can taste the air, you can feel or touch the things around you, you can smell even the air circulating around you that matches what you believe is in your vicinity. So your 5 senses allow you to know what is happening right now. But let me ask you this. Other than the 5 senses, is there any other way you know you are here right now listening to me? Absolutely not. It is only through your 5 senses that you know what is happening. Imagine if you take away sight, smell, touch, hearing, taste. Imagine if that is all taken away. What are you? What do you know? You don't know anything. You have no idea what's going around. If you lost all those senses right now, where would you be? In a state of absolute limbo. That's why people often buy those pods, those sensory deprivation tanks, to feel what it's like to feel nothing for a little while. Floating, as they call it. To have no senses means you are completely cut off from the world. You won't know anything. But maybe what you say if you got into an accident, maybe what you bring into it, in that maybe you can recall certain things. You can recall the things that you had impressions or experiences of, and you can think about those things. But let's focus on the senses for now, okay? Without the senses, you have no idea what's going on right now. And again, this is all related to truth, right? Well, every single one of your senses can be fooled. Think about this. There has been a time where you probably saw something, or you thought you saw someone, you went to wave them down, and they turn around, and that's not them. Eyes can be fooled. There has probably been, on certain occasions, where you thought you heard something, and you didn't. Or what you thought you heard wasn't, in fact, what you heard. You turn around, and nothing's there. I mean, let's not even get started with taste and smell. And we often think we're tasting something and it's something completely else, or smell something and it's something completely different. Sometimes a person feels a tap on their shoulder and they turn around and nothing's there. Now, ghost stories aside, you can see how every single one of your senses can be fooled. And again, I asked you for certain. What do you know for certain? Can't use your 5 senses to gain certainty. Each and every one of them can be fooled. Let's take sight, for example. And before you take a look at this, you might want to have more than one person around you right now. So go ahead and do yourself a favor. Pause the video and get a group of people or whoever's around you before you take a look at this. You see this cat spinning right here? Well, which way is it spinning? Clockwise or counterclockwise? You'd be amazed to find out that some of you believe it's going counterclockwise, while another person sitting right next to you is like, nope, it's going clockwise. So right there, with that simple illusion, I can fool your sense of sight. Which way is it actually spinning? Well, in one person's point of view, it's spinning one way. The other person's point of view, it's spinning the other way. So what's the truth? If I can fool that sense of sight that easily with a simple optical illusion, not taking away from the person who created that optical illusion, because it is very astute and profound. If you can be fooled by that kind of illusion, how can you rely on your eyes for certainty? Now, I know what most of you are probably thinking. Well, mister, that's one of my senses that you're fooling. We use all of them at the same time. While I may be fooled by my sight, my sense of smell, touch, hearing, all of that compensates to let me know what is actually going on. Fair enough. But what happens if you're dreaming right now? Whoa. I mean, there's no universal sign anywhere in your life that lets you know you've entered dream mode.
You never really remember the beginning of a dream, do you? You always wind up right in the middle of what's going on.
How do you know you're not dreaming right now? That's all 5 of your senses could be interacting. People wake all the time and think they smelled something that's not going on in their house. It was in their dream. Hear, taste, sight, touch. All 5 senses are fooled or can be fooled if you're dreaming. And there's no way to tell if you're not dreaming right now.
Dreams feel real while we're in them.
I mean, think about this. You guys knew I'd be making a philosophy video. You kind of know what your daily routine is. You don't know if you're actually listening to me right now until you wake up in your bed and you're like, wow. So Mr. Puniwai's video is not up yet? Oh my goodness. No, that comes in next week. I still have to write my journal reflection for this week. You don't know you are dreaming until you wake up and have something to compare it to. And that's the point. Not only can all 5 senses of yours be fooled, but you could be dreaming right now. Your entire reality could be fake right now. If this isn't bad enough, this gets even trickier. What if you're not in a singular dream? What if you suffered an accident 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and since then you have been in an everlasting dream? You've been in a coma this entire time. Everybody who you have created has just been an amalgamation of other characters, things you watched beforehand. And everybody you've seen since then, your entire life since that accident, has all been in your head. Whoa! I mean, honestly, you wouldn't know until you wake up and you're informed by your loved ones. What do you mean you're in 7th or 8th grade? No, you're still in 5th grade. You got into an accident when you were in 4th grade. A year's gone by. You had enough to pass or whatever it may be. But the point is, you don't even know if the consecutive days you thought have been happening have actually happened. This reminds me of a Twilight Zone episode called An Occurrence on Owl Creek Bridge, where, well, spoiler alert for those of you who've decided to watch the old 60s Twilight Zone episode, possibly one of the smallest demographics I'm trying to reach right now. But anyway, for spoiler alert, if you just started that 1960s Twilight Zone episode and haven't got to this one yet. So on an occurrence on Owl Creek Bridge, okay? It starts with an individual who is about to be hung, all right? They hang him, he falls, the line breaks, and he runs, all right? Throughout the entire episode, he is running from these people. He is scared out of his mind. He's feeling certain ways. He's running until he makes it back to his home. He sees his wife by his own house. He reaches out to grab her, snap. The rope snaps, he dies. All of that happened, the entire episode happened in a small little instance of when he was being hung. Because again, time doesn't exist in the mind. Sometimes we'll have dreams and we think it lasts for hours and it was a 10-minute nap. It was all happening in his mind. It was not reality. If you thought that was bad, the rabbit hole goes even deeper, to borrow from Alice in Wonderland. What if you are not just dreaming? What if a god or a demon or a server of computers is feeding into your brain everything you think is happening to you? I don't know, God's manipulating your brain, a demon's manipulating your brain, or you're plugged into a computer. You know, all 5 senses of where they meet in your brain is being fed right now with information to make you believe you are seeing what you are not seeing. They made up an entire world before your eyes. What if that's happening? Not only can you not rely on your senses, not only is your world absolutely an illusion, but everything that's making you do something, your choices that you're making, are all being fed by somebody else manipulating those decisions.
You know, I know this steak doesn't exist. I know that when I put it in my mouth, the Matrix is telling my brain that it is juicy and delicious.
Now, overall, what does this mean? Again, getting back to the first question I asked you, what do you know for certain? Well, it means you can't rely on all of your senses to gain certainty. You can't even rely on your senses to give you information about the world. And because your senses are the only way you gain information about the world around you, and your senses can be deceived, you cannot know for certain things in the outside world. Where does this leave us? Well, this leaves us in our very first lecture with one of the most difficult and thought of unsolvable problems in modern philosophy given to us by René Descartes. How can we gain information about the outside world through our senses, which can be deceived at a fundamental level? Well, to maybe offer some solutions or quasi-solutions.
No, you're still holding on! Let go!
Now, one of the solutions that you may have, or you may have thought of, is, hey, 1 + 1 still equals 2. That is true. Whether I'm dreaming or this is reality, 1 + 1 still equals 2. Arithmetic still works, you know? So I can be certain of that. Yes, in your mind you can, but what if you're being fed information? I.e., as soon as you use that arithmetic in the real world and you're being fed this information, you may be looking at 1 stone when there's actually 4 there. You may be looking at 1 stone when there is no stone whatsoever. So yes, arithmetic works in the mind, but it wouldn't work as soon as you use it in the real world. Now, Rene Descartes did find one absolutely certain thing that must exist no matter how much he tries to doubt it. And that's where he started, right? Certain is that which cannot be doubted, all right? There's one thing he realized cannot be doubted no matter how much he tries to, okay?
I think, Sebastian. Therefore I am.
Very good press now, Sherman.
And that is, if I'm being fooled, I'm sitting here, I'm experiencing things in the world, I'm seeing things outside, smelling, tasting, thinking. Because of this, there must exist something in the world that sees, hears, or, more importantly, thinks. Because maybe seeing and hearing are just senses that are fooling us. But thinking now, if I'm thinking, there must be something out in the world to think. If I'm being fooled, there must be something out there in the universe that is being fooled. Or cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. Or I think, therefore I exist. So you must exist somewhere out there in the world. All of this can be an illusion. You could be dreaming right now. You could have, I don't know, didn't look both ways and got hit before you knew it. And now, since then, your entire life has been you in a coma, living out your life since then. All of this can be an illusion. But you must exist somewhere in order to be fooled. The very fact that you're thinking must mean there must exist something out there that's thinking. Anyway, hope you sleep well tonight, and I'll see you next time for the next philosophical video. Take care.